bipartisan move in Delaware to dial back the mandate of electric vehicle sales.
Weathering future flooding, where Lewis plans to get millions of dollars in dealing with the effects from natural disasters.
A very warm Friday on the way for Delmarva as temperatures soar into the 80s. Another round of 80s on Saturday, then showers start on Sunday with cooler conditions. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up next.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Friday, May 2nd, 2025.
And we'll talk about this a few more minutes from now, in about 20 minutes, the cool things to do. But just looking at this weekend, there are so many activities that I want to hit and just few time to get.
And
can't get to them all is what I'm trying to say.
The weather, not a spoiler, but Bob's going to tell us it's going to be pretty perfect for all of those activities. Good morning,
perfect, Bob.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think for half the weekend, Sunday, I think it's getting a little cooler and wetter, but first half of the weekend looking really good, and so is today. Out the door, 60s and low 70s. Wow, when we're starting this warm, you know it's going to be pretty nice. 64 Ocean Pines, a little cooler there, but 70 in Millsboro and Rehoboth, 69 in Redden, Salisbury at 67. We have a southwesterly breeze right now, and that's bringing in kind of muggy air and also that warmer air as well. As we're seeing partly cloudy skies right now, nothing in the way of precipitation. Warm front continues to lift through Delmarva, and that's ushering in that much warmer air. Seeing a few showers back to our west, and with the heating of the day, we could see a pop-up shower storm into the evening hours. Should not be a big deal. But this morning we're looking at partly cloudy skies, a quick warm-up through the 70s. By noon already, lower 80s inland, cooler for the coast, and then mid-80s as we go into the mid-afternoon hours. Then looking at 60s and 70s at the beaches. Could see a stray shower or thunderstorm zip through the evening hours. Otherwise, your Friday evening plans are looking good, and looking good for the kiddos at the bus stop too. Mild and dry off to school and heading home, feeling like summer, warm and breezy, and 83.
Our top story this hour, as we get a live look at Delaware's capital city of Dover, there is an attempt in the General Assembly to ban private detention facilities in the state. On Thursday, House Bill 151 was introduced. Democratic State Rep Claire Snyder Hall of Rehoboth Beach is a co-sponsor. The bill is now under review in the Judiciary Committee.
And that Delaware bill comes 1 week after a Haitian woman died while in federal custody at a privately owned detention center in South Florida. Earlier this year, a notice of expedited removal was issued for her by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. On April 25th, 44-year-old Marie Ange Blyes died at Broward Transitional Center. She was a Haitian national who entered the U.S. on an unknown date. After being held in several other locations, Blyes was taken to that facility on April 5th. And happening now, Senate Republican leaders in Delaware are backing Governor Matt Meyer's opposition to Delaware's electric vehicle mandate. Meyer has repeatedly said he plans to scrap the rule, which was adopted under the previous Carney administration. It would require 43% of new cars sold in the state by 2027 to be zero emission. In response, Senate Republican Whip Brian Pettyjohn has circulated an updated bill to block that mandate.
In Lewis, city officials are proposing what is called a resiliency fund. Here's what that means. It's money for preventing and reacting to natural disasters. Today is the last day for people to submit comments about this. The city wants to take money from existing sources like property taxes and parking to set aside for fixing infrastructures and responding to storm damage. They want to build a fund of $3 to $5 million over the next 5 to 7 years. We went to Lewis to learn what people there think about this fund, and here is what one woman told us.
If we want to still have a wonderful area, a wonderful earth, period, we need to do something about it. Take better care.
And people can submit their comments on the city's website until 4 p.m. today.
At this time, it's unclear if Lewis will raise taxes elsewhere to generate more money for this resiliency fund. We do know they want the money to come from existing resources, such as a percentage of the gross rental tax receipt and lodging fees, and apart from Chesapeake Utilities, who runs natural gas in Lewis.
A Delaware bill pushing to keep red dye 40 out of schools has cleared one legislative hurdle. Senate Bill 69 would ban foods and drinks with a synthetic dye from being sold during the school day in public and charter schools. It passed the state Senate, now heads to the House. Red Day 40 is found in products like cereal, popsicle, chips, dairy products, and more. And the bill has been assigned to the House Education Committee.
Developing news, we are learning more details about an officer-involved shooting on Thursday in Milton. According to Delaware State Police, it happened on West Springside Drive. Authorities say they tried to stop a suspected impaired driver who didn't pull over, but instead started approaching officers with a knife. Two troopers fired their guns, shooting the man. He was given first aid, but then died at the scene. And we're awaiting more details from State Police.
Following up on a story that we brought to you yesterday, increased patrols can be seen across Maryland this weekend. Maryland State Police say troopers will focus on impaired and aggressive driving during Cinco de Mayo weekend. On the Eastern Shore, troopers from Berlin, Easton, Princess Anne, and Salisbury Barracks will be posted along routes 1350, 404, and 413.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Business leaders are sounding the alarm over President Trump's tariffs as more are set to kick in on Saturday. The president softened some of those auto tariffs earlier this week, but analysts say the overall impact on the on and off again tariffs are taking a toll.
Yeah, today we had another check on the overall health of the economy. When the April jobs report is released, NBC's Bianca Fascini shows us what we can expect.
Have prom.
Business leaders from across the country sounding the alarm over President Trump's tariffs.
Everything that is imported from another country. Adding anywhere from 10 to 20% on every one of our invoices.
Tariffs are just...
In a letter to the administration, Suzanne Clark, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, warns many small businesses will suffer irreparable harm if exclusions aren't made for them. Though it's not just small businesses that are feeling the heat.
The demand is way down. Now, a lot of that is, I think, the consumer reaction to the tariffs.
While the panic spreads as more tariffs are set to go into effect Saturday, the message from the president is still optimistic. In an address Thursday night, he told college graduates at the University of Alabama that the tariffs are working as intended.
It's making us very rich, and you'll be seeing the results pretty soon, sooner than most people think.
However, members of his own party acknowledge the ripple effects the tariffs are having on the economy, like stocks initially taking a tumble earlier this week, after data revealed the economy contracted in the first quarter of the year.
Some of this is clearly a reaction to the uncertainty on taxes and trade. I mean, it's indisputable. So we got to work on it.
Meanwhile, Trump blamed what he called the Biden overhang for the market reaction, though Wall Street did eventually recover those losses. Now, all eyes are on Friday's monthly jobs report, which could offer clues on where the economy is headed. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
We're just getting started in this hour of CoastTV News today.
Coming up, BB Mystery Man. Do you know who this is and why the Museum of Chincoteague is asking the public for help in identifying him?
Also, Tidal Atlantic Agreement will tell you what changes to expect as Tidal Health expands its reach.
And Lewis campus closure, why the parking area there will be unavailable all weekend. All that and more as CoastTV News Today continues.
6:11 on this Friday morning, looking at, we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies in the FH for Camp 70 in Cambridge, and it is mild out the door, upper 60s and lower 70s all across the region. As we do have a southwesterly breeze, has that summer feel out there. We have clouds, nothing in the way of precipitation right now. We have a warm front that's lifting through Delmarva, and that's ushering in that summer-like air for today, feeling more like June and July as opposed to early May. It may be an afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but if you're headed to the boardwalk on Bethany Beach or any of our beaches, looking gorgeous, 60s early on and then warming through the 70s with a nice southwesterly breeze. I think mid 70s at the beaches and then mid 80s inland later today.
Happening tonight in Lewis, BB's Healthcare's parking garage at the main entrance at the Margaret H. Rollins Lewis campus will close. This is for cleaning over the weekend. According to BB, parking can be found in the exterior lots around the campus. Parking garage is expected to reopen by Monday, May 5th.
We have a road closure in Georgetown to tell you about. According to DelDOT, it should have gone into effect this morning at 5 a.m. On your screen now is Wood Branch Road, and just part of that road will be closed. That work is expected to last through Thursday, May 8th, and it is related to the overall work with the Delmarva Central Railroad. Detours will be in place for both directions.
Amusement park fans might need to hurry to get their final thrills at Six Flags America in Bowie, Maryland. The amusement park closing for good at the end of the season. Hurricane Harbor will also be closing. The parent company of Six Flags says the roughly 500-acre property marked for redevelopment. The park first opened as a wildlife preserve in 1974 and later became Six Flags America in 1999. The park's final day will be in early November.
Apple CEO Tim Cook says tariffs could cost his company $900 million this quarter. Most iPhones are produced in China, which has been highly targeted by President Donald Trump's tariff policies. But the Trump administration announced in April smartphones were exempt from those reciprocal tariffs on Chinese imports. This would reduce the total tariff rate from at least 145% to a minimum of 20%.
Driverless semi-trucks are making their mark on highways in Texas. Autonomous trucking firm Aurora announced it launched commercial service in that state. The self-driving trucks, they're doing regular long-haul routes between Dallas and Houston. And the semis, they have computers and sensors that they can see for more than 400 football fields, or 4 football fields, I should say.
We're looking at partly cloudy skies out the door this morning, and it's a taste of summer. Look at the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp, 70 degrees. We're headed into the 80s today and tomorrow with a cooler Sunday on the way with showers developing. We'll see several days of showers into early next week. I'll track it all on Futurecast in my full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 6:16, and you are looking live at the hints of a sunrise. Boy, that is picture perfect there at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. Bob, that sun going to give us a summer-like feel on this May spring day.
Boy, it is. That sun is going to do its thing today, Matt, and the sun angle is getting higher. You're going to need that higher SPF sunscreen as well, as we're feeling like summer today and tomorrow. But today we're into the mid-80s inland areas, 70s at the coast, maybe an afternoon shower or a thunderstorm. Saturday is going to be dry and another warm one with 80s, but then we start to cool down on Sunday with 70s with scattered showers. More on that on our 7-day forecast with the rain chances. We have an isolated chance today, but then you see on Sunday how the chances go up into the scattered range, and even by Monday and Tuesday, widespread as we continue rain with a cutoff area of low pressure back to our west. So beneficial rain for about 3 days, and then it starts to dry out after that. Temperature-wise out the door, gorgeous. 60s to around 70 in Millsboro, 69 in Gumboro, Salisbury 67, a little cooler in Ocean City right now at 61. As we have a southwesterly breeze, and that'll start to pick up as we go through the day, as we're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies, depends on your location. Dry conditions as we have a warm front that is making its way through the mid-Atlantic region now, and that's ushering in that very warm air from the south, and also some humidity too. You can see some spotty showers from West Virginia back into the Tennessee Valley, and with the heating of the day, we could see an isolated storm later on. Really not a big deal. Mid-morning already into the mid-70s on Futurecast. By noon, lower 80s, even 84 in Seaford, 82 in Millsboro. A little cooler at the beaches. I think we're in the 70s for the most part here from Ocean City up to Dewey Beach, 83 in Lewis, and you're into the upper 80s by mid-afternoon, 86 in Millsboro, 85 in Delmarva, but a little cooler at the coast as that wind is parallel to the coast this afternoon. And we could see that spotty shower or thunderstorm this evening. It'll quit once the sun goes down, and then we're looking at very pleasant temperatures through the evening hours and staying mild through the overnight as 6 a.m. Saturday morning. Perhaps you're setting up for a yard sale. We're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and then warming into the 80s again, into the mid-80s. Salisbury back to Seaford and Millsboro and Long Neck. Cooler for the coast and still very mild into Saturday evening as we're seeing these winds gusting up to about 25 miles per hour today. It's still pretty breezy this evening. I think they calm down a little bit at night, but then the winds will rev up again during the day, about 25 to 30 miles per hour tomorrow, as we're watching a cutoff low pressure system back to our west. That's low pressure that's breaking away from the main jet stream, and that will give us periods of rain and showers Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and maybe some thunderstorms too. But we're dry on Saturday, and then that front gets closer on Sunday, and that will get the showers going. And with that cutoff low, with that southeast flow, we'll see showers pretty much right through Tuesday. Could be heavy at times, and then it gets out of here early Wednesday, and maybe upwards of about 0.8 of an inch of rain with this system, maybe over an inch in some places. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, 85 today, 86 on Saturday. Definitely feeling like summer. Then upper 70s with rain developing on Sunday. A wet Cinco de Mayo. And my anniversary as well. 73 degrees, 76 and rainy on Tuesday. Wednesday, 78, drying out, and then dry and mild into Thursday.
Tidal Health is adding another hospital to its roster. Leaders signed an official agreement to merge with Atlantic General Hospital in Berlin. Officials say that partnership will expand services at both Atlantic General through increased funding and updated equipment. Tidal Health CEO says all patients will be transferred over electronically.
We want care close to home, and we want to figure out the services that people need in the Atlantic General service area. We want to add physicians, add capabilities. If people need surgery, do more operations here on this campus.
AGH will be renamed to Tidal Health Atlantic once that transition is complete, and officials say they expect it to take around 10 months.
Here's a look at the area right outside the Wilmington Airport, which is it's actually in Newcastle, Delaware, and there's some news coming from the airline that flies into and out of there. You now can fly directly from Delaware's largest city to Music City. Avail Airlines is adding nonstop services from Wilmington to Nashville International Airport. There will be flights on this route weekly on Thursdays and Sundays with fares starting at $39.
Food, shopping, fast cars, and fancy hats. It's all happening this weekend, so stay with us for your cool things to do.
The Museum of Chincoteague Island is asking for the public's help with identifying a portrait. It was found at the Beebe Ranch in the attic. Historians believe the man is named Drummond Hill and was likely pictured around 1880. The Hills were a prominent family with members still on the island today.
They made a living for themselves here on the island and working in the seafood trade and transporting seafood. But if you go back to the original Hills that came on the island, they were shipwreck survivors. So you really can go back with this story and learn a whole bunch about the Eastern Shore and living on a barrier island.
The Chincoteague Island Museum says the grand opening of Beebe Ranch will be June 28th, and it plans to display that portrait for guests to guess who Drummond Hill was.
What is often called the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, just a day away. The 151st running of the Kentucky Derby and the all-day celebration happening live Saturday. Our coverage begins at 2:30 p.m. right here on Coast TV.
Matt, I think beaches and outdoor eating areas are going to be busy today and tomorrow because Bob says we're going to have some summer-like weather.
I'm looking at these temperatures. If you're at the beach, Bob, I think great to hang out on the beach. Might be a little too cold to ride some tasty waves, though.
Tasty waves.
Might be. That water is still chilly. You know, it's in the 50s. So probably like, whew, a little shock once you step in the water. But it'll be getting warm out there and a little choppy, too. Small craft advisory until this evening for the Atlantic Ocean and some of the inland bays as well. So we're going to see some whitecaps later on. Assateague and Chincoteague. A mix of sun and clouds today. A little cooler for you, lower 70s, Chincoteague, upper 60s in Assateague. Make sure you have the sunscreen. UV index is high. We're in the mid 70s in Fenwick Island, a little cooler in Ocean City, lower 70s, and maybe a straight shower later on. In Cambridge the next 2 days, mid 80s, and then cooler with rain developing on Sunday. Similar conditions for Crisfield. So enjoy today and tomorrow because beginning Sunday, the weather does go downhill. I'll have much more on the rain headed our way and the warm weather as well coming up in the next half hour.
Well, the quiet season on the coast is over. May is here and the weekends are filling up fast.
They certainly are, and Coast TV's Christina DeRobertis has your lineup of cool things to do.
You can think of this weekend as kind of your soft launch into summer. There's no pressure. It's only just May, but there's a lot happening. And that's including the Rehoboth Dewey Sidewalk Sale. It's back for its 42nd year, all weekend long from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. with deals across downtown Rehoboth, Dewey, and Route 1. In Lewis, classic British cars will be taking over the ferry terminal on Saturday at 11 a.m. for the British Motor Car Show. CoastTV anchor Charlie Sakaitis and I will be judging the event. Over at Shellville in Rehoboth on Saturday, the Southern Delaware Wine, Food, and Music Festival. They're pouring up and serving food for a good cause. It's also Heritage Day at the Nanticoke Indian Center Saturday, a free event with dancing, storytelling, and native food in Millsboro. And if you're feeling festive, head to the riding arena at Southern Delaware Therapeutic Riding for Derby Day, complete with mint juleps, a hat contest, and a watch party for the Kentucky Derby. Ticket sales from this event will directly support the therapeutic riding program. And don't forget, you can watch this year's Kentucky Derby right here on Coast TV. Coverage begins Saturday at 2:30 p.m. For event details, tickets, and more, just head over to coasttv.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
Now on Coast TV News.
Detention center controversy. After a death at a private facility in Florida, the Delaware General Assembly now taking on these areas used by ICE.
Reversing auto rules, that could be the result for Delaware's plans to drive sales of electric vehicles.
Ditching red dye. Delaware lawmakers target the food coloring chemical found in foods and drinks sold in schools.
A very warm Friday on the way for Delmarva as temperatures soar into the 80s. Another round of 80s on Saturday, then showers start on Sunday with cooler conditions. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up next.
This is Coast TV News Today.
May 2nd, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 6:31. Want to give a shout out while we have a chance to Lewis's Mason Fluharty, the Blue Jays rookie relief pitcher, got his second career win last night as Toronto defeated the Red Sox.
Shout out to Cape Henlopen High School too.
They are a baseball producing machine.
That is awesome. That's something to be proud of. Well, congratulations, and it is good weather to play baseball. That is for sure.
It is baseball weather.
It is baseball weather.
Boys of summer, Bob, in May.
Absolutely. It is basically summer with these temperatures.
I know. Good morning, Elisa and Matt. Baseball weather, beach weather, getting out and cutting the grass weather. Oh, yeah, no, you have to do the chores too, but beautiful weather to be outside. We're looking at 60s to around 70 degrees to start now. Even Rehoboth and Lewis are at 70 in Georgetown, Bethany Beach 69, a little cooler in Ocean City at 61 as we have a southwesterly breeze that's ushering in that much milder air. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies right now. We've seen a few little blips of green. I don't think we're looking at any rain. That could be different as we go into this evening. But there's a warm front now lifting to the north, and we're ushering in that much warmer air from the south and west. We have a few showers back to our south and west, and with the heating of the day, we could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm later on. But early on, it's partly to mostly cloudy and very mild, around 70 in Millsboro, 60s at the coast. Mid-morning already quickly warming through the 70s inland areas, 60s and 70s at the beaches. So I think you're in the 70s at the coast really much of the afternoon, while inland areas are into the mid-80s, maybe 87 in Lewis, 86 Millsboro, Georgetown, and Seaford. And as we get into the heating of the day, that pop-up shower or thunderstorm is possible. So keep that in mind as we go through the evening hours. Otherwise, looking pretty good. And your drivecast is looking good, too. The green light for the morning commute, breezy and mild, dry roads, good visibility, and the green light, too. Heading home or heading out for the weekend, warm and breezy conditions.
Our top story this half hour, Senate Republican leaders in Delaware are backing Governor Matt Meyer's opposition to Delaware's electric vehicle mandate. Meyer has reportedly said he plans to scrap the mandate, and this rule actually was adopted under the previous Carney administration. It would require 43% of new cars sold in the state by 2027 to be zero emission. In response, Senate Republican Whip Brian Pettyjohn has circulated an updated bill to block that mandate.
Got developing news out of Delaware. Getting a live look now at the capital city of the state, Dover. And there is an attempt in the General Assembly to ban private detention facilities. And Thursday, House Bill 151 was introduced. Democratic State Rep Claire Snyder Hall of Rehoboth Beach is a co-sponsor, and that bill is now under review in the Judiciary Committee.
And this Delaware bill comes 1 week after a Haitian woman died while in federal custody at a privately owned detention center in South Florida. Earlier this year, a notice of expedited removal was issued for her by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. On April 25th, 44-year-old Marie Ange Blyes died at Broward Transitional Center in Pompano Beach. She was a Haitian national who entered the U.S. on an unknown date. After being held in several other locations, Blyes was taken to that facility on April 5th.
A Delaware bill pushing to keep red dye 40 out of schools has cleared one legislative hurdle. Senate Bill 69 would ban foods and drinks with the synthetic dye from being sold during the school day in public and charter schools. It passed the state Senate, now heads to the House. Red dye 40 is found in products that many of us use: cereal, popsicles, chips, dairy products, and more. The bill has been assigned to House Education Committee.
In order to protect its environment, Lewis is proposing what's called a resiliency fund to be used to both prevent and react to natural disasters. Today is the last day to submit comments on that topic, and the city wants to take money from existing sources like property taxes and parking revenue and specifically set them aside for fixing infrastructure and responding to storm damage. Lewis says they want to build a fund of $3 to $5 million over the next 5 to 7 years, and locals can submit your comments on the city's website until 4 p.m. today.
Now, we don't know if Lewis is looking to raise taxes elsewhere for more money. We do know they want some of this money to come from existing areas, such as a percentage of the gross rental tax receipts and lodging fees, and from Chesapeake Utilities' franchise fee. Chesapeake operates natural gas in Lewis.
President Trump delivered the commencement address to the University of Alabama class of 2025 Thursday evening in Tuscaloosa. This was the president's first address to graduates in his second term. In his speech to more than 6,000 graduates, the president weaving politics throughout his message while promising the class of 2025 a bright tomorrow and telling the graduates that they have the opportunity to be the greatest generation in the history of our nation.
Like many generations before you, you're graduating at an exciting time for our nation, a period of both extraordinary change and incredible potential and what will be unbelievable growth. You're going to see that very soon. You're going to see it starting very, very soon.
President Trump is also expected to deliver the commencement address at West Point later this month. And a few hours before the president took the stage, several protests formed against that event. The Tide Against Trump rally was hosted by the University of Alabama College Democrats at Snow Hinton Park. The group cited grievances with the Trump administration, as well as the detainment of an Alabama student last month.
Now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., and despite President Trump's stance that the tariffs will benefit the United States, higher prices are being seen at several retail outlets, and the tariff exemption for Chinese imports ends this morning.
It's probably kept the total in your online shopping cart down, even as the U.S.-China trade war heats up. CNN's Amy Kiley shows us the impacts of today's change.
Even very, very cheap items are now being tariffed.
The era of Americans buying ultra-cheap products from China might be waning. As of this morning, a tariff loophole is closed for Chinese imports worth $800 or less. That's due to executive action from President Donald Trump last month.
It's a big scam going on against our country.
Here are the new tariffs for Chinese imports in the affected price range. An item sent via the postal system carries a 120% duty or a $100 fee. On June 1st, the flat cost option rises to $200. An item shipped another way likely faces Trump's 145% tariff hike.
Maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, you know? And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally.
Chinese e-commerce giants Shein and Temu say they raised prices a week ago to prepare for the loophole's end. Temu's website uses the label local warehouse for items it says aren't subject to duties. Amazon says it considered showing how tariffs affect prices on its low-cost Amazon Haul site. After a clash with the White House, it's backing off that idea, but not backing off potential price hikes.
When you have a low-margin business, you don't have as much wiggle room to deal with tariffs, and you have to pass that on to consumers more.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Still have more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, preparing little ones to learn. We'll tell you when you can register your child in Milford.
Also, softball shutout. We have Lake Forest upping their streak to 13 games after an impressive win at Smyrna.
And Bike More, Bike Safely. We'll tell you how Maryland and Delaware are highlighting this initiative all month long. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
6:41 on this gorgeous Friday morning. Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp, 69, a Laurel, beautiful sunrise. We've got some blue skies, we've got some clouds out there, and very mild conditions in the 60s and lower 70s. A little cooler in Ocean City, 61, Ocean Pines, 64, but everybody else nice and mild with a southwest breeze, and it's gorgeous out there. We're looking at just some clouds, not expecting any rain as a warm front is lifting to the north, and that will usher in very warm air, maybe a pop-up shower or storm later this afternoon. Today's checklist, light jacket, maybe you can even go without it. Make sure you have the summer clothes, the higher SPF sunscreen, stay hydrated with water. That's important, and have the sunglasses too. And congratulations to Rose Sterling in Bridgeville. She has a new umbrella, courtesy of Paul Davis and Coast TV.
There will be nighttime closures on the Route 50 drawbridge in Salisbury. According to the Maryland Department of Transportation, work is starting tonight at 5 and is expected to finish Monday, May 5th around 6 a.m.
Bike More, Bike Safely. That's the focus of an initiative in Maryland and Delaware. For the month of May, both states are encouraging locals to bike to work and to school. And in Maryland, people can learn commuter tips and tricks in a webinar.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Lake Forest softball has dominated this season, and last night they tried to stay unbeaten versus Smyrna. In the fourth, 2-0 Lake, bases loaded for Spartan slugger Bailey Glandon, and she slugs one into left. All 3 runs rumble into score. This blows the game wide open and makes it 5-0 Lake Forest. Same score in the 6th. Riley Bell wants to get in on the action for the Spartans. She takes this pitch and sends it back through the middle to put a runner aboard for Lake, but she wouldn't stay there for long because then Glandon comes back up to the plate and does more damage. She barrels this one up and out in left for a 2-run blast. The Spartans roll to an 8-0 victory on the road. Last night on Into the Trenches, we saw how the offseason work paid off for the Cape Henlopen Vikings, culminating in a victory over Red Lion. Now, let's take a look at how the Vikings prepared for the game ahead. Here's what to expect for Episode 3.
On the next Into the Trenches.
Not a lot of kids get to hang out with their dad as much as I do.
It's difficult, and I would caution people who coach their kids.
I felt a lot of pressure, man. It was our first home game.
Tonight will probably be the most crowded home opener in years. What are you going to do to sacrifice for your brother?
Into the Trenches, a new voyage on the Delmarva Sports Network and DSN Plus, sponsored by Preston Automotive.
That'll do it for sports. Have a great day, everyone.
And coming up tonight on DSN, 5:30 Bayside Conference Girls Lacrosse as Kent Island takes on Queen Anne's. And then catch the final score at 10:30. On the DSN Plus app, you get that girls lacrosse game along with these exclusives. 5:30, same schools. They meet in boys lacrosse at 6. Battle of Dorchester. North faces Cambridge South. That is at 6 p.m.
And here's what you can expect this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Coming up today on Coast Life, we have a lot of great topics to cover.
We do.
I'm going to talk to a horse, like directly to a horse. We got to get his opinion on who maybe you should be looking at for winners in the Derby.
Ooh, can't wait for that. Also, can't wait to check in with our friends at the Milton Theater. They're always up to something fun, something glamorous, and that's what we'll get when we get the details of Bear, a pop opera.
And it's been a good week, but who were the winners of the week? That's something we still have to decide. You're going to want to tune in, see who gets our big prizes for our Friday winners of the week.
They are such big prizes. All that fun is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Weather-wise, we're seeing a gorgeous start to the day. Beautiful sunrise over Delaware Bay on the Tunnel and Razor Cam. A taste of summer. Highs into the 80s today, extending into Saturday. A cooler Sunday with showers developing, and that rain sticks around for a few days into next week. I'll track it on a Futurecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is now 6:47, and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning. And Bob, for a Friday, it is going to be a beautiful day, as you have told us. That is exciting. Super warm already this morning, even warmer later.
Yeah, anytime we're starting around 70 this time of day, this time of year, Lisa, it's going to be a warm day, especially with the southwesterly wind. And that's what we're looking at. Mid-80s today and tomorrow. Average high is low 70s, so well above that. Then we cool back into the 70s Sunday into early next week. The reason being is we're going to be seeing rain at that time. We could see a stray shower this afternoon, but I think the steadier rain, the more consistent rain builds in Sunday through Monday and Tuesday. At times, a widespread rain and maybe some thunder as well. It will be a beneficial rain for sure. We're looking at 60s to around 70 degrees out the door right now. Lewis and Rehoboth at 70, 69 in Millsboro, 70 in Georgetown now. As the winds are coming out of the southwest, they'll get pretty breezy today. And right now it's dry all across Delmarva. We're watching a warm front lifting through, and that's ushering in that very mild air. We have a few showers, pop-up thunderstorms across the mountains, and with the humidity in the air and the afternoon heating, we could see maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm into the evening hours. As we go through the morning, it's a quick warm-up through the 70s on Futurecast. This is 9 a.m. We're in the 60s and 70s at the beaches. If you're going to the coast today, it will be a little cooler there with 70s for the most part for highs. By noon, inland, we're in the low 80s, and by 3 o'clock, around 70 in Bethany Beach, but 84 in Rehoboth, mid-80s from Berlin up to Georgetown, 85 in Delmar, and you could see a stray shower or thunderstorm anytime after 3 o'clock. It'll be really spotty, but keep an eye to the sky. Otherwise, pretty good for your Friday evening plans. We keep it mild through the overnight, starting out in the 60s Saturday morning, and then we're back into the mid-80s again tomorrow afternoon with breezy conditions. Once again, a little cooler from Dewey Beach down to Ocean City and mild into Saturday evening with gusty southwest winds today up to about 25 miles per hour at times, and still pretty breezy into this evening and through the overnight, but it'll be a mild breeze, and that will continue into your Saturday. Gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. We will have a cutoff area of low pressure, meaning it's cut off from the jet stream, kind of meandering to our west Sunday through Tuesday. That means scattered showers, kind of damp, cool, and cloudy. So unsettled as we go Sunday into early next week, but I think Saturday is dry. We pick up those rain chances later Saturday, and then you can see Sunday afternoon kind of wet, and then it's not going to be raining all the time through Tuesday, but those periodic showers could be heavy at times, but a beneficial rain finally moves out by midweek, and seeing at least, I think, 0.8 of an inch of rain, maybe an inch or two possible in some places. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, summer like mid-80s today and tomorrow, upper 70s Sunday with the showers, a wet Cinco de Mayo Monday, still kind of rainy Tuesday, and then drying out and mild into Wednesday.
Thank you, Bob. In just a few hours, starting at 10, the 42nd annual Spring Sidewalk Sale begins in Rehoboth Beach. It's hosted by the Rehoboth Beach Dewey Beach Chamber of Commerce. The sale features shops putting out their merchandise on the sidewalk from today until Sunday. The event is rain or shine. One person living in Rehoboth Beach says people will come no matter what the weather is.
One way or the other, they'll either stop here first and buy, and then hopefully move over to the Art League.
Businesses we spoke with tell us they hope good weather will boost their sales.
Bikers will take to the streets from the ocean to the Bay Tour in Sussex County happening today and tomorrow. Almost 2,000 bikers will cycle through Bethany Beach, Fenwick Island, Ocean View, and other Sussex County communities. The Bethany Fenwick Chamber of Commerce says the highest traffic volume can be expected from 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday, May 3rd.
Preparing your little ones to learn, the Milford School District is holding open kindergarten registration. The district says children who are 5 years old on or before August 31st can register for the 2025-26 school year. Parents must bring proof of residency, and this event is taking place May 6th from 1 to 6 p.m.
And the time is now 6:52, so we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And let's check out Raven from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. Raven is right there on your screen. We are being told Raven is sweet and affectionate. She loves to play with cat toys and loves treats. If you want to adopt Raven or any other pet, you can visit the Brandywine Valley SPCA.
And we want to highlight all of our local animals. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can do so by taking a look at your screen.
Send them our way. Scan that QR code to get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
The time is now 6:55, and we are going to tell you the things you need to know before you go. Senate Republican leaders in Delaware are backing Governor Matt Meyer's opposition to Delaware's electric vehicle mandate. Meyer has reportedly said he plans to scrap that rule, which was adopted under the previous Carney administration. It would require 43% of new cars sold in the state by 2027 to be zero emission. In response, Senate Republican Whip Brian Pettyjohn has circulated an updated bill to block that mandate.
A bill introduced in the Delaware Senate would ban foods and drinks with a synthetic food dye that's being sold during the school day in public schools and charter schools, citing concerns about the potential effects on children's health. Red dye 40 is found in products like cereal, popsicle chips, dairy products, and more. Bill 69 has been assigned to the Senate Education Committee.
And it is 6:56. We're going to take another look at our summer forecast.
Summer forecast in spring. Bob, all I can say is I love the start to this weekend.
Absolutely.
It is nice. I have to say summer-like, because it is still spring. So, and we know how Matt feels about the meteorological seasons and things like that. But no, it's going to be feeling like June and July instead of early May. Already low 70s out the door, a southwesterly breeze, and then we're warming into the 70s, into the mid-80s inland areas. So you know the drill when it gets warm. Stay hydrated, wear the light colored clothing, and have the sunscreen. I'm sure a lot of folks flocking to the beaches the next couple of days. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, 86 on Saturday, then a cool down Sunday, upper 70s, as we're looking at showers building in, and with a cutoff low to our west, we keep it kind of wet through Cinco de Mayo. 73 on Monday, 76 still kind of rainy on Tuesday. We dry it out Wednesday with upper 70s, dry Thursday, and then another chance of rain maybe by the end of the week next Friday. Some showers and 69 degrees.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Friday morning, everybody.